Today on the Historical Taylor Show, we will be discussing the religion Catholicism. We have a very special guest with us today. Everyone, please give a round of applause for Pope Francis.
Thank you. Thank you all. I really appreciate your request of me coming, and I am so blessed to be able to speak with you all today.
We are glad you were able to make it. A little bit about yourself.
Yes, of course. My name is George Mario Bergoglio. I became the 266th Pope of the Roman Catholic Church back in 2013. It was on the 13th of March. I may be old, but I will never forget the date of what that special day was. I am the first Pope from the Americas and to take the name Francis.
First Pope from the Americas? Wow. What is your job as Pope?
My job as Pope gives me dominion over the entire Church. As the Bishop of Rome, I have supreme, full, immediate, and universal power over all the Catholics. This is what we call papal supremacy.
How does it feel to have all that authority?
It does feel great to be such an important person, but it does come with a lot of responsibility.
Since you are the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, you must know a lot about Catholicism. Can you explain a little bit about the basic tenets of belief?
The basic tenets of Catholicism are the fundamental beliefs of the Roman Catholic Church. We believe the Catholic Church was founded by Jesus Christ himself and that the popes were given the authority to teach and to forgive sins. We Catholics believe that worship is due to God alone and he is the creator of heaven and earth.
Catholicism sounds a lot like Christianity. Are they similar in any way?
Oh yes, Catholicism is a form of Christianity. There are three branches of Christianity: Roman Catholicism, Eastern Orthodox, and Protestantism. This refers back to the Great Schism, which is the division between the Eastern and Western churches, because of many disagreements.
Wow. Before the Great Schism, wasn't there a reform of some sort causing the split of the church?
Yes, the Reformation. Thank you. Attempts to reform the Catholic Church and the development of Protestant churches in Western Europe are known as the Reformation. The Reformation began in 1517 when a German monk called Martin Luther protested about the Catholic Church. His followers became known as Protestants. Many people and governments adopted the new Protestant ideas while others remained faithful to the Catholic Church. This led to a split in the church.
Wow, okay, so that's the difference between the churches. Since we're in the more past side of Catholicism, would you like to add anything else?
Nothing in particular, maybe some questions from the viewers.
Yes, great time. You heard the Pope. Right after the break, we'll be answering some of the questions from the crowd. We are back here again today with Pope Francis. Here I have with me some questions that you all would like to ask him. Let's get started. First, Kayla T. from Utah asked, where do the popes live?
Yes, the Pope lives in the Vatican City with several of the departments that assist him in carrying out his responsibilities and duties. I chose to live simply in a 2-room apartment.
The next question is from James B. He asked, what is the Catholic Church's relationship with science?
We are all well and good. There is a myth that our church and science oppose each other.
Do you believe they are logical and rational in thinking?
Their ideology is not true. Science is now being taught in a lot of classrooms through this very dark prism.
Since we've been in so much of the history in Catholicism today, I would like to ask you some questions about things recently. I heard that you recently announced that the priests around the world will be allowed to forgive sin of abortion.
Earlier this month, I announced that priests around the world will be able to forgive the sin of abortion during a year of mercy, which will start November 8th of this year and end November 20th next year. I wrote about this act of compassion in a letter.
Wow, that's definitely a big step for the church. That's really amazing. The next question is from Julia R. What is excommunication?
Excommunication is really a kind of banishment, a punishment that's handed out by a church when one of its members breaks some important church rule.
Okay guys, it's almost time but first, the last question from the viewers. Mary O. from Kansas asks, what is the Benedictine rule, and also can you explain a little bit about the Crusades?
Yes, I would love to. Benedict rule stated that priests could not marry, could not own goods, and had to obey their abbot. The abbot was the head or ruler of the monastery. The abbot was also the rules or laws of the monastery.
I remember a little something about this. Wasn't there also monks and nuns? Can you explain a little bit?
Monk is a man who has chosen to devote his life to a certain discipline of prayer. Monk had to follow 3 vows. Vow of poverty. This means he had to give up all his worldly goods. Vow of chastity. This meant he had to stay single. Vow of obedience. This means he had to promise to obey the church and the rules of the monastery. Nuns lived in a convent. In each convent, the ruler was an abbess. Nuns wore a gown, a veil, and a wimple. Most nuns had a far more active life than the monks. Nuns prayed, but they also spent time spinning, weaving, and teaching.
That's a very strict way of life. And crusades are...
Oh, I almost forgot. The Crusades are military campaigns sanctioned by the Catholic Church in the Middle Ages.
That ends our questions from the viewers, but I would like to ask you one last question. What is one positive thing and a negative thing about the Catholic Church?
One positive thing about it is that we live as we believe. This is why we take a moral stand away from things like abortion, genetic engineering, and all avoidable warfare.
We live as we believe. I like it. One negative thing?
When women will never be a priest.
And why is that?
The Catholic Church is that of the Church. Even if I wanted to ordain women, it doesn't have the authority to do so, and that is not possible for a woman to become a priest, even if she went through the ordination ceremony.
That is a pretty negative thing. But let's not end this wonderful interview with a negative note. We had a marvelous time with you today. We are so glad you were able to come and speak with us. Thank you so much.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Thank you. I've enjoyed every minute.
And that's it for today, guys. Can you please give another round of applause for Pope Francis.